Welcome to the video presentation of our paper, Improving Findability of Digital Assets in Research Data Repositories using the DCAT vocabulary at MedInfo. My name is Matthias Löwe. In our paper, we address the problem of limited findability of digital assets in research data repositories. Research data management requires stable, trustworthy repositories to safeguard scientific research results. In this context, rich markup with metadata is crucial for the discoverability and interpretability of the relevant resources. Seek is a web-based software to manage all important artifacts of a research project. In this paper, we extend the power of the RDF serialization by leveraging the DCAT vocabulary. DCAT was specifically designed to improve interoperability between digital assets on the web and enables cross-domain markup. The FAIR guiding principles are now widely accepted and implemented in many projects, but reproducibility of scientific workflows and the reusability of research data is still an issue. The problem to be addressed in this paper is that many research data archives maintain only a minimal set of metadata. On top of that, it is often simply embedded as text in web pages and not retrievable in a machine-readable way. These archives are mainly intended for manual use, where the user either browses through predefined navigation hierarchies or finds results by simple text searches. Even if a web API exists, application-specific vocabulary based on the archive's internal data model regularly hampers the usage. The research objective of this work, presented here, was to improve findability and interoperability by adding machine-readable annotations to research data assets in a vocabulary that should fulfill 5 conditions. First, widely used in praxis, consented and not only supported by one party, domain relevant in the sense of a domain-specific standard, structured with clearly arranged elements, and machine-readable for automatic processing. Obviously, DCAT vocabulary is a promising candidate. Seek builds on the ISA data model, which describes a hierarchy of investigation, the project, context, a study, a unit of research, and the assay as an analytical measurement. Seek is a proven research data repository used, for instance, by the FAIR initiative, and Seek offers a human-readable HTML view with JSON linked data embedded, a machine-readable JSON API, and an RDF serialization based on the germ ontology and Dublin core, but currently not DCAT. As a reference for practical implementation, we use a project called the Leipzig Health Atlas. In order to implement support for DCAT standard in ISA or Seek, we developed a mapping for all essential entities of the ISA-Seek model to artifacts from DCAT. To avoid misinterpretations regarding the mapping, we included 4 experts from 3 different locations as a consensus was subsequently reached. Evaluation of the mapping between Seek and ISA and the DCAT model was done by an independent ontology expert who did not take part in the mapping process. The finally evaluated mapping was integrated into Seek by extending the already existing RDF serialization's functionalities. We modeled a comprehensive DCAT example based on a real-world published research project from the Leipzig Health Atlas repository. As far as possible, an attempt was made to provide all attributes with meaningful characteristics. We developed a mapping from the Seek ISA data model to the DCAT data model. It was investigated which existing characteristics could be mapped and which could not perfectly be mapped. Finally, we developed an extension in Seek which implements the mapping. The extension is currently being evaluated in the Leipzig Health Atlas project. In this picture, you can see an exemplary study managed in Seek. The HNSCC study has a clinical data set, a genomic data set, and a biometric model in different formats or distributions. This table shows schematically how entities from Seq or ISA were mapped to the corresponding constructs in DCAT. Finally, the result is an improved version of the RDF serialization in Seq. In the example, for the sake of clarity, only attributes from DCAT and from vocabulary on which DCAT itself is based are shown here, but you can have a look at it in the web. In summary, it can be stated that DCAT fulfills the 5 important conditions set out at the beginning of this presentation. It is used in practice by a number of services, e.g. the Google Dataset Search, and DCAT enables a research data center to describe datasets and data services in a repository using a domain-independent standard vocabulary. It facilitates the retrieval, interpretation, and further processing of metadata. We plan to deploy the approach shown here on a larger scale in the future. Seq will also be used as the research data repository for the local nodes of the upcoming German National Research Data Infrastructure for Personal Health Data, NFDI for Health. And NFDI for Health wants to implement federated searches on datasets across catalogs in multiple decentralized locations using the same query mechanism and structure, so DCAT is obviously a valid candidate. Thank you for listening to the presentation. If you have questions, please contact me using the email address provided. You can find the shown example page in the Leipzig Health Atlas under the given link in the HTML view, as well as in the serialization in RDF DCAT. The source code of the extension is already also available via GitHub.